other inmate.
My son has not been convicted of anything. And
what motive would
even other
Melly
inmates
have to kill his two friends?
They just piss him off?
A huge twist just dropped in the case of YNW Melly during today's court session, and it's already got people talking. Right after the update, his mom jumped on Instagram claiming, Melly is coming home soon. And honestly, the timing raised eyebrow. According to reports, the hearing even hinted at a possible release timeline, with headlines saying Melly is once again pushing for release after spending 7 years behind bars. On Wednesday, March 25th, his new legal team officially filed a motion to set bond in Broward County Court. Their argument? The conditions he's being held in are seriously questionable. They claim Melly has been stuck in solitary confinement since December 2021. On top of that, he allegedly hasn't seen visitors in 4 years, and both visitation and phone privileges have been cut off since 2022. Now here's where it gets interesting. Over the past 7 years, saying every single request for a bond hearing has been denied. Every time. But this time, it's different. Reports now say Melly could be released from jail on April 30th as his bond hearing is scheduled. That alone has people watching closely. The update wrapped up by revealing that Melly is now legally entitled to a bond reconsideration hearing because of changing circumstances and new evidence that neither the current court nor the previous judge had reviewed before. And that in new evidence, that's where things take a turn. His team plans to present material from the original trial, including claims from prosecutors themselves admitting that no firearm was ever actually recovered.
The first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what firearms.
Then they're bringing up what was found inside Bortlen's home.
Melly's co-defendant YNW Bortlen was booked into a Miami jail Monday night and is being held behind bars on an out-of-county warrant. We just confirmed the warrant is out of Broward County for witness tampering. The warrant obtained by Law and Crime Network states as follows. On or about April 10, 2023, continuing through and including July 22, 2023, Cortland Henry, aka Bortlen, along with others, did unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce them to withhold testimony. The warrant continues the alleged witness had been summoned by the legal process to the jury trial of Jamel Dimmons, aka YNW Melly. The dates in the warrant are important. Jury selection for Melly started in mid-April, and a judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd, the same day the warrant claims Bortlen allegedly tampered with the witness.
As reported by Bryce and Paul, images of alleged notes were discovered during a recent raid on Bortlen's house and officially filed with the Broward clerk. Alongside those were photos showing detailed notes about jurors, where they were sitting, and even descriptions of their appearances. Now here's the part raising serious questions. Bortlen reportedly attended one day of Melly's original trial just to schedule his own case. But during that visit, he allegedly observed the jury closely and mentally noting positions and appearances. To some, it looks like more than coincidence. It's being interpreted as if he believed the jury found his best friend guilty, and he was ready to act on.
To keep it real, this is sloppy. Bortlen, how the f you gonna have the notebook of the jurors in your house? Holy sh! Like, come the f on. It's like doing a and having the surveillance tape in your DVD player or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Like they raid your crib and the surveillance footage of the is in your DVD player. They be like, oh, okay, thank you, brother. This can't be at your crib.
And that's not all. Melly's legal team is also leaning heavily on his jail conditions to push for release.
February 2020, Melly was involved in a multi-inmate fight inside the day room of his area unit and was given a DR for his role in the fight. October 2020, placed on a room restriction for refusing to go back to his cell as he was trying to hide while on the phone.
They've now filed for his immediate release, even taking legal action against the Broward Sheriff's Office, accusing them of cruel treatment. According to Melly, he hasn't been allowed to speak to or see family members in over 3 years. And that sparked reactions from other rappers online, some others online, already showing support, saying things like, I like what I'm hearing. Free him. He's been locked up too long. Meanwhile, his team claims he's been living in freezing conditions without proper meals or basic human interaction, and his mother. She's been vocal too, opening up about his situation and suggesting that the conditions are so bad he might not be able to endure much longer. She even hinted that he's being treated more strictly than any other inmate now. With a bond hearing finally locked in and new evidence on the table, all eyes are on April 30th.
My son has not been convicted of anything. And even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to just to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail. They don't give it to him.
Even YNW Melly's mother is clearly under heavy pressure right now, watching everything her son is going through behind bars.
You saw Melly's statement just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life. As a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We've tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too.
Even Boosie Badazz spoke out saying he genuinely feels for Melly's mom and everything she's had to endure. He mentioned meeting her while Melly was locked up, making it clear the situation hits deeper than just headlines.
I met his mama while he was in.
Oh, okay.
I met his mom while he was in, and she real, bro. You know, she real.
She's stressed out. I heard she had a...
Yeah, she real, and I reached my hand out to him, cause I'm real. Yeah, I reached out to him, bro. I met his mom, and she a good woman, bro. And when I see them mamas like that, it remind me of what my mom was going through.
But then you've got Charleston White coming in from the opposite angle, saying straight up that Melly deserves the harsh conditions facing in jail.
Jail life.
The YNW Melly. I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated. Yeah, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated, homie. Homie, when you take a life, homie, you ain't got a right to complain about a motherfucking thing about being mistreated when you done chose to play somebody.
And just when things couldn't get more intense, court updates reveal new evidence involving him, with Sackchaser allegedly making moves toward Melly just weeks before his death. Prosecutors are now pushing this as a possible motive, tying it together with claims of help from YNW Bortlen, an affiliate. Even backed this up during interrogation.
Would Melly have his two friends?
They just pick him off? I don't know, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm gonna tell y'all straight up. Yeah, Melly was on FaceTime, Melly like, y'all don't know, bro. Y'all don't know what Sack was doing to me. Y'all don't know what Sack was doing to me, bro. Like,
according to that statement, Sackchaser had done some wild things to Melly, serious enough that it supposedly sparked a desire for revenge. Even being claimed that Melly wanted payback so badly, a former O-Block member said Melly once reached out to King Von for advice on how to handle someone.
Told him that he his two friends.
He ain't come out and say, like, we got into an argument. And so, you know, if you know, when people could say something without saying it. And so he told me, like, once I posted what I posted, Von was mad at me. Bro, why you put up there, bro? What the bam? I'm like, you sitting up here, like, you know the love we got. You do this for us, but you gonna trust that his two friends? And he said, them was trying to extort him. And so I'm like, if they was trying to extort him, then why are you still around?
But here's where things really shift. Bortlen has now accepted a plea deal with federal authorities. Not only that, he agreed to a proffer, meaning he's officially talking. The deal includes a charge of accessory after the fact, with a sentence of 10 years plus 6 years probation minus any gained time. His name. Deposition has already been requested in a civil case. This led DJ Academics to break it down, comparing Bortlen's situation to Gunna. When he took a deal tied to Young Thug, the judge made it clear, since Bortlen pled no contest, he has to provide a factual basis for the plea. In other words, he's got to fully explain his role in the situation. This isn't just a quiet plea. He's expected to lay it all out.
I did tweet out saying people are upset. I said, this is a Gunna plea. This is a Gunna plea. This isn't a plea saying you have to tell on him, but this is a plea that you're going to have to provide all the details that they were missing to convict him. And that's why it's a Gunna plea. Why do I say he signed a Gunna plea? Because YNW Melly, and I watched the case, we covered it. YNW Melly's case is that, number one, you guys have not done a job to prove that this is actually they are proved, but prove that this is a homicide. with this person being the offender. Also, the accessory after the fact plea confirms that Bortlen, that's kind of like almost like a sub part of a conspiracy, except you weren't with the conspiracy at first. You came in after the fact. What that proved is that they came in. What that proved is that Bortlen worked with someone after he acknowledged that a took place in trying to cover it up. You hear what I just said? When pleading to an accessory to after the fact, you have to acknowledge that the happened and you assisted someone or in some way to cover the. Now, if Melly's statement is, how do we know? And then secondly, how do we know who did it?
Even a legal expert following YNW Melly's case made it clear. There's no way prosecutors reduce potential punishment from 5 life sentences down to just 10 years without expecting something major in return. The message is simple. If a deal like that's on the table, they're expecting full cooperation.
He is going to be tell-all about anything he knows about the double case, and they will know if he's telling the truth or telling a lie when he gives his full quote-unquote confession as to what happened that evening. And that's what happens. A lot of times where guys are in prison for 4 or 5 years awaiting trial and looking at a life sentence, and they're offered 10 years where they'll be home probably in another 3 years that he'll serve, he decides to flip and become a cheese eater. And that's what happens a lot of times on these cases. And I was expecting it to happen a lot sooner than it did. He held out for quite some time. But long story short is it looks like he's going to flip. And it makes the case on YNW Melly, depending on what he says, which I anticipate he'll say that YNW Melly.
Now here's where it gets interesting. Melly just had one of his charges drop reports. Say he will no longer face trial for witness tampering after prosecutors decided to drop that charge entirely. His trial was originally set for January 21st. But during a hearing on January 20th, the state pulled the Tionica. Back on that case sounds like a win, right? Not so fast behind the scenes, his move actually looked strategic instead of revealing what his ex Mariah Hamilton might say in court right now. Prosecutors are saving that testimony for the bigger Double M case. And according to them, Melly allegedly sent Mariah out of the country for 3 years. To keep her from testifying the first time around.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
When Mariah eventually came back, she was arrested and only released after agreeing to testify in Melly's upcoming trial. After getting out, she posted on Facebook, "Thank you to my village. I love y'all God's plan. Not mine." That moment gave prosecutors the confidence they needed, dropping the witness swiner. Tampering charge now actually helps them focus on the main case where they're aiming for a life sentence. According to court filings, the state dropped the charge to avoid risking key jail call evidence that could be crucial in the 2027 trial. The issue? Ongoing disputes over whether those calls can be used. Losing them could weaken their entire case, so they played it safe. At the same time, prosecutors still allege Melly was involved in efforts to keep Mariah from testifying, tying it to gang-related activity. Financial records reportedly show she received over $31,000 from his management company, plus help buying a Mercedes despite having no reported income. On top of that, investigators say Melly created a relay system inside jail, passing messages to other inmates. Once his phone privileges would cut surveillance footage, jail calls, and notes all point to him directing messages outside using coded language and nicknames to keep Mariah away from court. This isn't even new. While Jevy's father spoke about this exact thing years ago.
Kind of crazy way that Melly was communicating. He wasn't allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people, and then this person's calling this person, and then that person.
Saying like to me, they going through extreme measures, trying to cover up or convince people not to testify, like Mariah mom. They was using code words like Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's baby mom.
He described a wild communication setup, no phone access, so messages were passed inmate to inmate, then relayed outside. According to him, it looked like extreme efforts to silence witnesses like Mariah and even her mother. They allegedly used coded names like referencing Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's baby to disguise who they were talking about. With the courtroom proceedings paused, the judge then gave prosecutors space to argue why Melly shouldn't be released.
Town asked him if he was okay, and his response was, "I did that," and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly account says what?
After that, SHHH.
They started with text messages they claim show Melly admitting to the crime. They also played a video showing him dancing in a parking lot within Bortlen just 5 hours after the incident.
Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! No, still turned, regardless of what happened. You already know.
According to prosecutors, he showed no visible emotion over the loss of his close friends. But that wasn't all. Another clip allegedly shows Melly getting into the back left seat of the Jeep involved, and that detail matters. Court documents state that the trajectory of the bullets moved from left to from left to right inside the vehicle, supporting the claim they came from the back left seat, the same position Melly was seen entering. Investigators even had YNW's mother confirm from security footage that it was Melly getting into that exact seat.
Your name, your full legal name for the jury.
Leon Phillips.
Okay. And are you related to one of the kids in this case?
Yes, I am.
How's that?
I'm his mother.
And who is that?
Christopher Thomas.
Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Which seat, if you can identify for the jury?
He got in the back seat on the right hand side.
Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Janelle.
But this is where things start getting serious for YNW Melly. YNW Bortlen could now back up the new evidence prosecutors are lining up, including questions about why Fredo Bang picked Melly up from the side of the road that night.
Chris Thomas. So what you're also going to find out is while Mr. Devins is out there on the side of the road, 4 in the morning, 4:42 specifically, he sends a drop pin, digital homing beacon, to his current location, to one of his friends, Frederick Givens. Frederick Givens is also involved in the music industry, and he asked to be picked up. Frederick Givens, then about 11 minutes later, is sent another drop pin where Mr. Devins has moved a couple of meters. What you're going to find out as well, though, is these digital leashes, they have more than just phone calls.
They also wanted to introduce a Facebook post showing Melly alongside Young Thug, using it to argue he was connected to the Red Street team.
Same thing, the use of the slap term, 5-point star, snake. He's saying he's YSL, and he puts up his YNW for life hashtag on it with Mr. Devins has the big D hand signs displayed.
Okay, and these individuals again, I'm assuming that's also the Young Thug. That's also unknown.
Yes.
Also important to your investigation, correct?
Yes.
Also publicly available for anyone to see.
Melly even tried to tell his own lawyers in court to let that evidence come in, figuring Bortlen might confirm it anyway. But his legal team shut that down. Reports say today's hearing marks the first time Melly openly went against his attorneys in court, with witnesses saying he was visibly yelling at Georgia's legal team.
Yes, sir. Against our advice, our client wants to proceed.
People inside the courtroom heard him say, "I don't care, I'm not in no game." They can't prove that.
924-071. Call for an automatic stay while
they were aggravators. They go to membership, and again, there are things that the jury would have to find before going into penalty.
Not aggravator, that's the death penalty. Aggravator, that's the gang enhancement itself, Your Honor. That was charged. He was charged in committing the murder for the the gang, which is an aggravator in terms of the guilt.
Something that they would have to find by way of an interrogatory.
Yes.